thank you. In Iron Giant, a robot saved the whole city by craft icing himself against a missile attack. The robot collided with the missile and caused an explosion in the air. However, this was not the end of the story. Many years later, the main character founded the drawbot of the robot. During that night, the drawbot regenerated himself and wanted to escape the house because the robot repaired himself. Finally, the robot was reborn. Self-healing microchip, rearranging circuits if damaged, make it possible for this to happen, even though the part of the chip is broken. This is what it looks like. This is what the new invention will be. Let's look at it in more further in depth. Today, I will talk about the origin of the self-healing microchip that are newly invented for further application, but there are some drawbacks. Human beings can recover themselves. If we have a wound on our fingertip, has the ability to recover from the injury. Can you believe a robot can do the same thing? Yes, the robot can do the same thing. The robot can fix its own problem by itself. Let's take a look at it. The self-healing microchip actually is now that is a robot that can recover themselves with this newly invented self-healing microchip. Computer contains a complex group of individual components in order to work as a whole. When one chip integrated with the other one, the processor, the system, if the system is dead, it needs a human hand to replace it, or by someone who will replace the chip. According to Scientific America in March 12, 2013, each self-healing microchip contains more than 100,000 transistors and secondary processor. The chip could actually seek out alternate routes when some pathway are damaged and could adjust accordingly to the function and its application specific, which they also call it ASIC processor. The ASIC processor serves as a brain of the system. By gathering information from the chip and the sensor, and it senses the temperature, the current, the voltage, the power. It analyzes overall performance and then determines what goes wrong in the system. So they will know how to adjust it by itself. From the article written by Jeff LaSala, he wrote that when a robot is broken, it needs somebody to fix it, or by changing the damaging part. This no longer will be the case. According to a group of computer scientists in Caltech, they have created this self-microchip that they wanted to create this microchip to recover the system by itself, but without human intervention. So basically, no human hands needed for the computer to reboot itself to regenerate. In human, think about this. From what we call it when we are injured, the white blood cell we call neutrophils rushes to the site and cut off the infection, try to fight it off. And the blood, our other blood cells, they also call it the monocytes, and transform themselves into scavengers, the macrophage, to engulf the dead part of the body and cause it not to inflame and cut off the infection. And same thing right here with this new invention. In this experiment, the Caltech researcher tested the self-healing microchip by blasting with a laser. After losing around half the transistors, it only took about the microchip couple of milliseconds to respond to the damage. So it's very fast, basically. So far, we have looked at the mechanics of the self-healing microchips and the beginning of the self-healing microchip development. We've discussed it. So now we'll discuss about how is it applied and to our new days of the application. According to the Computer World in March 14, 2013, this is actually done through by having the system deconfigured, failed component or start spare parts in the system. So it looks to me like a Caltech guy is applying this concept in the chip level to make it smaller rather than a system level. So what they call a microchip. So using self-healing microchip, it can improve the survivability of the chip, the processor, and the robot it actually need less human hand to depend on human basically. So it is important to for us to realize that um, in open ways that the development that integrated the circuit chip that both diagnose and fix their own problems according to MIT and review in March 2013, the concept can apply to any kind of circuits that has any function. So right now it's pretty well developed in what they're saying is it would take no lot and extra space of the processor and to position this newly invented microchip self-healing microchip. So unfortunately, um, if this microchip is actually damaged, the self-healing microchip is damaged, it needs someone to fix it. It's someone to replace it with a new chip. Also, but there are some other problems, static variation, long-term aging issues, environmental related issues, or accidentally destruction of the parts that there still need to be more development of it. But in conclusion, in today, we have learned that exactly how self-healing microchip is and the origin of the self-healing microchip is actually going to be in our future applications. Even though there are still drawbacks, we have seen the function of it, and there is also alternative. And when parts of the computer is broken without replacing the whole chip itself, they actually will know how to fix itself. So in one day of the processor that break the damage of the piece together, the robot and the iron giant that could exist in this world, the robot could be undefeatable. Thank you. 唔該晒 Uncle。Thank you, thank you.